Good evening, Friendpreneurs, and welcome to another episode of Friendpreneur Fiyah podcast Unbound. I am your host, Tiffany Bargeman, and the CEO, founder, and visionary of Friendpreneurship, LLC. We are a business support service that connects entrepreneurs through targeted networking and live storytelling events. So this podcast is one of those live storytelling events. We like to bring entrepreneurs here to talk about their why so people will buy. There's a famous quote. I always say this. Simon Sinek, he is a inspirational author and speaker, and he says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that resonates so strongly with me because I love a good story from an entrepreneur about why they do what they do. I truly believe it. So I provide this platform for entrepreneurs to do just that. And a little bit about Friendpreneurship. Before we introduce our guest, I am going to let you know where my passion comes from. Now, the core values of Friendpreneurship are promotion, support, and repetition. And I just like to say promote, support, repeat. Promote, support, repeat. Because when entrepreneurs support one another, when visionaries support one another, the sky is the limit. And all we have to do is promote, support, and repeat. So one way that I do that is through this podcast. The stories behind an entrepreneur's business are so important. Tonight, my guest, Sabrena Mervin-Blake, she is going to talk about her why, and I'll give you some more information on her in just a moment. But first, I would like to honor our sponsor. And this is a BFF VIP member of the Friendpreneur fam. Her name is Samantha Reagan. And Samantha has a business that I patronize called Touch of Sam. I'm going to show. All right, so Touch of Sam is a full-service spa boutique. She offers massages, she offers skincare, red light therapy, and some other services for wellness. I patronize her once a month to get my massages. She puts me to sleep on the table, gets rid of my shoulder boulders. That's what I call them, shoulder boulders, because every month I treat myself. I need that time. So if you are interested in putting a massage on your agenda to treat yourself, entrepreneurs need to take care of themselves. Go and see Samantha Reagan at Touch of Sam. You can go to touchofsam.com and you will find all the information to book her services there. So thank you, Samantha, for being our perpetual sponsor. All right, so that is our sponsorship. I would like to introduce to you our guest for the evening. All right, Sabrena Mervin-Blake. She is the founder and CEO of SMB Ministries and runs a life coaching practice, Coaching with Sabrena. Sabrena is a mother, wife, minister, first lady, mentor, and a strategic operations and leadership professional. She is an author or co-author of the anthology Bursting Forth the Power Within, Messages of Hope by Women of Faith. She also has developed and facilitates EDIT, which stands for Expose, Dispel, Impart, Thrive. And this is an 8-week mindset transformation coaching program designed to help women expose and dispel false narratives and negative labels and replace them with empowering knowledge. And this is so important. We're going to come back to that particular thing because I believe that friendpreneurs can benefit from the knowledge that she has to share around mindset transformation. We are talking about the entrepreneurial mindset this month in our friendpreneurship experiences. So I want to get her input on that. I'll go further to say that Sabrena has a Bachelor of Science degree in biology from UNC Chapel Hill and a master's degree in clinical research from Campbell University College of Pharmacy. She also is ACC credentialed through the ICF, which is International Coaching Federation. And now I am going to bring her on stage so she can tell us exactly what ACC stands for. And we will go from there. Stand by while I find Sabrena. All right, here we are. Hi, Sabrena.
Hey there. Hey there.
Welcome to Friendpreneur Fiyah.
Thank you. So thank you. And I'm so glad to be here. So glad to be
Tell
here. I'm
us.
like, who is that you're introducing? It's like,
It is you, ma'am, and I need to know what ACC stands for.
yeah, ACC stands for Associate Credentialed Coach. So through the International Coaching Federation, they have multiple levels of credentialing. So you
Mhm,
have folk who are sometimes certified. So I was
mhm.
initially certified and have been certified for some time. But then I wanted that additional level of credentialing. And it requires us to maintain our credentials every 3 years through training and certain numbers of hours of coaching. So
Okay.
it's an associate credential coach. And there are a couple other levels beyond, which I'll come up to in 2025, and hopefully we'll get to that next level of credentialing as well.
Okay. So it takes some consistency and determination when it comes to getting your training, continuing education, making sure you're um, prepared for whatever is next time.
Prepared and trained. The initial level of credentialing requires a 3-hour exam. And I
Oh,
don't
wow.
think there are, a lot of folk, again, have their certifications.
Hmm.
But I wanted the actual credentialing just to make sure that we know what we're doing when we're talking to people. And
Hmm. Absolutely.
that's important. It's important.
Okay, so let's talk about coaching and mentoring. I want to hear your why, because there's certainly a reason that you want to pour out of yourself into other people. And I would love to hear that from you. Tell us your
Yeah.
why.
I want to first tell you what I do, and then I'll tell you my why. And we're all going to have our little elevator pitch to tell people who we are and what we do. So I am an impact and empowerment coach, and my passion has been for many years motivating and inspiring women to become empowered to reach their greatest potential. But I use the Word of God as the foundation for reaching their potential. And
Yes.
as you mentioned in the bio, I help women explore and expose limiting beliefs, fears, negative thoughts, and replace those things with transformational strategies, new information, so that they can live confidently and authentically, as is my
Hmm.
intention. So that's sort of what I do.
Hmm.
And then when I think about my why, our why usually is closely related to what we do.
Absolutely.
And I have such a passion for that because it's something I had to learn for myself
Hmm.
throughout my 25-year plus career. I found myself in those situations where people attempted to devalue me and devalue what I bring. And sometimes when you're the only one in the room, either the only woman, the only Black woman,
Hmm.
and, work and situations can be brutal,
Hmm.
and you have to know how to keep yourself encouraged. So I found myself at times over the years in that space of doubt, a doubt about who I am, what I know. I know. It's amazing. You can know things, but sometimes people and situations can bring about doubt and
Hmm.
put you in that box of feeling small. But I came to some years ago, the light bulb went off that wait a minute, they don't have that control over me. That I have that control of me. And the interesting thing about it, Tiffany, is that when I was even dealing with that, that was as a minister, as a woman of faith. I mean, I- it was amazing that I had faith. I knew the word, but I still found myself succumbing to that limiting space. And
Hmm.
at some point, I had that aha moment of, wait a minute, no, this is not the way this is going to be, and this is
Hmm.
not the way this is going to go.
Hmm.
And I made a stand, thankfully, through much prayer, that I'm going to walk in that space of all of who I am, do all that God has called me to do, and I'm going to do it unapologetically. And I
Hmm.
really don't care if it makes other people feel uncomfortable. So
Hmm.
that's my why. I love to see women win. I love to see women walk in their power and the authority
Yes.
that they have, because in so many ways, society, or be our work, our professional life, sometimes at home, we just don't get the opportunity
Hmm.
to we know we have strength because people are calling on us to do a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes time to do things that we want to do or build our businesses as entrepreneurs or whatever, in our professional spaces, some reason we don't really stay in that place of strength. So that is my why, is that I don't want anyone else to get caught and stuck in the box that I found myself in, allowing people to come in and say things and we don't respond. We just sort of, let it go. Sometimes as Christians, we stay in that, oh, I'm just going to let it go. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do. No, there comes a time when we need to stand up for what we know, and who we are, through prayer. Don't get me wrong, through prayer and fasting and listening. And I believe God is faithful and He will put us where we're supposed to be and do the things that we're supposed to do.
Absolutely. I agree. And I can relate to all of what you're saying because just like you, about 25 years in my career, and there have been moments where I felt like, should I say something? Should I not? If I do, will I be labeled? If I don't, will I be labeled? How will I feel
Mhm.
not saying anything? Am I standing up for myself? Should I not? But I think the last 10 years have been more vocal for me because
Yeah.
I'm more accepting of myself and I am more confident in my offerings. So I haven't had as much of an issue saying what I need to say. I'm imagining that your clients, as you're coaching and or mentoring, your clients are needing this kind of encouragement and support. And I'm curious about how you approach your coaching and mentoring. And maybe if you can start by telling us the difference between the two and then talk about how you might address certain situations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, there certainly is a distinction between coaching and mentoring, and I think counseling. And I'll just say with coaching, particularly using our guidelines within ICF, we have there are specific do's and don'ts, and there are limits. Coaching is not therapy, so we recognize the boundaries of what we talk about and how we approach our clients, with while we're coaching. I think coaching is an opportunity to listen and to hear, and the skill set is how to listen and hear, and then ask the right questions. Ask the questions of folk that, one, we're listening to what they're saying, and probably listening in a way that they don't realize what they're saying or how they're saying it or what their body language is saying. We're
Mhm.
listening to things that they're really not even aware that they're actually saying,
Yeah.
what they're saying. And then we, again, skilled in what is that next question? Because I start out all of my coaching sessions with, how can I help you today? Why are you here today? And we go from that point in space. It is about helping people come to their own conclusions. It's not me telling people what to do or how I think they should do it. That moves us into the mentoring space. Mentoring is when you have that level of expertise, and you are offering some guidance based on your expertise. Coaching is so the opposite of that. I'm asking questions so that a person can pull out of themselves what it is that they believe that they want, or what they believe is the right answer and the right choices for them. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and then counseling is a little bit different, of course, as well. So
Yeah.
that's
Thank you for sharing that because I've always been curious. Many people are life coaches, and then a lot of people are, I'm a mentor myself at work, but I
mhm.
never really considered the difference, the very distinct differences that you just mentioned. I just know that I want to help people. So if I am mentoring them, I feel like if they're a junior associate, they haven't yet gotten to a certain place in their career. I've been there, done that, and I want them to learn from my,
Mhm.
lessons. I try to share that. So now I can keep the two in mind. Looks
Yeah.
like we have a comment. Let's see what someone is saying. Oh. So, hey, this is Christian. He has joined us. I just met Christian recently at a Friendpreneurship experience, and he just was saying, great question. Thank you for joining us, Christian. Hope to see you this week. All right, so Sabrena, let's talk about your anthology.
Okay.
I am curious. Let me go back up here in these questions because I want to get the name of it correct. So you are the co-author of Bursting Forth the Power Within, Messages of Hope by Women of Faith. Tell us about that anthology.
Yeah, so this was a group of female ministers, women of faith who came together wanting to put something out. This is actually through
Mhm.
our church body, and wanted to put something out on behalf of women. That title, and it is 12 messages of inspiration and hope, just as the title says. But the title of Bursting Forth the Power Within is something that just so resonated with me. And it's similar to what I just said earlier. It is about women who know that you're called to something,
Mhm.
called to, you have vision, but for whatever reason, and we know that it happens. Um, Either the opportunity is not readily available for you, or things may be so traditional in nature that there's not space made for you, or you may be doubting that, what I always say, that nagging feeling, that nagging dream, that nagging whatever, that you feel like it's just going to go away, but it's been 10 years and it hasn't gone away, and 15 years it hasn't gone away. That means there's something we should be responding to. And so, bursting forth the power within is about bringing that forth with courage, and understanding that that is really God's Spirit telling you that this is what He is calling you to do. And it is to burst forth with power. Again, unapologetically. It is meant for this earth, it's meant for this world, and it's
Mhm.
meant for you to put it out. So, these are the messages of hope from women. And all of those stories are so incredibly different. So I would encourage anyone, if you're interested, let me know, to get a copy. And my story within that is called um, The Waiting Room. So what do you do while you're waiting? When you know you have that nagging, you know you've been praying about it, you're not
Mhm.
quite sure, what do you do in that space of waiting? So
Mhm. Okay, that's a good segue to mindset transformation. Now, I imagine that the ladies who co authored the anthology all had a moment where they thought, okay, now's the time. I can't wait anymore. I must do this thing that I feel called to do. So,
mhm.
reading those stories will be very interesting. There must have been a mindset shift, though, in each one of them, because we can have a certain mindset and be stuck there until we get tired of that pull or even are thrust into it. You know, sometimes life can thrust us into our purpose. Um, what would you say is the most common reason women don't make the move or wait as long as they do, and the most common reason that they finally do it?
Yeah, I think the most common reason is, while they may feel that nagging, that yearning, probably two things. I got probably put both of these in the front. They don't have anyone there to encourage them.
Mhm.
Just as what we just said, they don't have those folk, because if no one else, Tiffany, as an entrepreneur, if you're not surrounded by these same like-minded people, and you're out there trying to do that on your own, and no one is encouraging you and showing you how. And one thing, it's a woman I consider a mentor. She said to me many years ago, she says, "You do realize you may have to make your own way." And that was such a light bulb moment for me, because based on what I was seeing, that was predominantly male dominated. I'm like, wait, why is this not happening? Why am I not seeing so many women in this space? And
Mhm.
she said to me, you do realize you may have to make your own way. And it was at that moment years ago that I realized, aha, I need to find other people who are either already making their way, already doing it, so I can surround myself with like-minded women.
Mhm.
And I think that probably is the very first step. And I think about, the seasons of life and different ages. Think about those young folk who are just out there, getting out there, they want to be entrepreneurs. But if they can't find that, and that's a different generation of people too, let me say,
Oh, yeah,
those
very different.
25, 28, 30, that's a totally different generation than my
Mhm.
generation. But if they, and And their tactic and strategy now around social media, they know how to maneuver and find their communities in ways that we didn't know. I didn't know. I can speak for myself. Those communities weren't readily available.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that first thing is sometimes people, one, don't believe that they can, or that space is for them, because they're not seeing other people who's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that's why it is so important. It goes with that question of, why should I hire a coach? Because you need somebody who can help you get to those places and spaces of thinking of what really is the first thing that I need to do. Again, that nagging is not a mistake, is
Right.
not something that's coincidental, particularly if it is one of those things that is just not going away.
Mm-hmm.
It is speaking to you, and it needs to get out into the world. So I think, again, that first thing is finding folk, the hard thing, finding others who are, even if they're not doing exactly what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but just being entrepreneurs. How can I get attached to folk and be surrounded by people, and then figure out, what my steps are based on whatever it is that you're being called to do.
Yes, I agree. And friendpreneurship is all about connecting these entrepreneurs, because most times people just getting started don't know where to start. And then once they've been in the game for a long time, they don't think that it's important to pour back. And sometimes they need to be reminded to come out of their busyness
Hmm.
and look back and help the others who are just coming along. So I think it's so important. And the mindset is a really big deal. It has to be a deliberate thing.
Yeah.
Mindset.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's so important to, as you say, to um, supporting and helping one another. I think
Uh-huh.
I get such joy seeing people win. Right, it's such joy to see people win. Particularly, I'm all about women, seeing other women win. Nothing is, particularly when they've been sort of shrouded and shy and not really knowing what to do.
Mhm.
Um, that's the exciting part.
Yeah, my next question was going to be, who is your ideal client? I think you just answered that. Those who are shy women, not sure yet what to do,
Yep.
because you're there waiting with the answer.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily there waiting with the answer. I'm
Mhm.
there waiting with the right question.
The right
At the
questions.
point that
Coach.
they come and they, that they know that whatever that thing is, but they are shy, fearful, maybe anxious, not really sure, don't think I can.
Yeah.
Lord, do you really mean me? I may feel inadequate. We already have this bout of, um, what's the syndrome called? It's leaving me right now. But when we
Oh, the imposter
yeah,
syndrome.
thank you, imposter syndrome. I already have that going on anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those folk who don't really know where to start. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes people get discouraged. They feel like they're starting. They may make that first phone call, or may make that first, um, connection, thinking they're trying to network. And like you said, sometimes trying to break into those networks aren't
Mhm.
necessarily always friendly. And it may
Right.
not give you back what it is you feel like you need. And then that sort of puts you at a stopping point.
Yes.
Um, yeah, those folk who who know they need to move forward may not really be clear. We can help ask the right questions, help you make the plan, set the goals, do the research, understand your why, understand the pain points of your audience, all of those things. That's a part of being an entrepreneur, uh,
Yeah.
to get you moving.
I love the aspect of coaching that asks questions to draw out of someone what's in there.
Hmm.
Because if they are shy, or if they haven't yet gotten a full or clear vision, but they know something's in there,
Hmm.
asking questions, the right questions, prompting them to look within and know, okay, nobody's telling me to do this. It's already in me. I just need to identify it, articulate it, manifest it. That must be very rewarding when you can see the light coming on in a woman that you're coaching. Talk about that experience for you as a coach. What is it like when you see that moment for a woman that comes to you?
Yeah, it's excitement. It's great to see other people get excited because People can think one thing, they can think this is what I think I want to do, but when they start to really talk through it and have folks ask these particular questions, it can even expand their thinking in ways that they may not have originally thought, or even question, is that really what I want to do? Or is this really, because based on what I hear you say, I can sort of pull that out and say, well, I hear you saying this, but in your response, you're really saying this. So which one is it? Let's sort of take the time to sort of pull those apart, and for you to be able to go back and ponder and think through what really is the best thing. So, it really is watching that process of clarity come about, and really fine tuning and streamlining thinking. And quite honestly, Tiffany, a lot of times we don't take the time to really to think clearly and get clarity because life can be so busy. And that's another, I think, benefit of coaching, is having that dedicated time and space to have someone help you think through, ask you questions, hold that space so you can really think through what really is best for you.
I completely see the value in that because, like you said, life is busy and we can be busy doing all the things. Processing our thoughts is not always at the top of the agenda. And it ought to be, because that's the only way we can truly grow and meet our full potential.
Right. And, I think because of distraction and the busyness, and that too, I'm sure too, is as you're trying to grow a business, saying, oh my gosh, you can have all these great plans. You can put it in your book. You're going to do this on this day, this day, this day. And then something happens. And then you start to feel like a failure because, I didn't get it done. I didn't check this off my list. But then I tell folk all the time, you know what? If you can give it 15 minutes, if you can just send that one email, respond to that next email, try not to be so rigid, but just know that you're making progress. Before you know it, things will continue. And that was the advice I had to give to myself. I have a full-time job. And so, by the time you finish working, you do dinner, you try and exercise. How much mental energy do you have left to continue to work on it? Right. Not much. Right. So if you can just get a little bit done and keep it going, you'll make the progress.
And it has to be deliberate. It has to be time blocked, like everything else that's important to you.
Yeah.
Time block. That clarity, focus, and direction. And I have to shout out the Praying CEO because it gives me, that group of women that comes together to pray on a regular basis, it gives me the clarity, focus, and direction that I need to move forward. And that community, we're talking about community here and how we need each other is so important. So being able to be a part of a group or being able to access a coach who can walk us through the processing, I think if people really take that seriously, we can grow. We can grow with the flow, continue to grow with the flow. That's a common theme for me this month because the more I learn along this journey of entrepreneurship, I feel like there are two options. I could be discouraged and think, I'm never going to get where I want to go, or I can grow with the flow. There are so many opportunities to learn. And every time I get one to help someone else based on the experiences I've had, even though sometimes they're not comfortable, I feel like that's what I'm here to do. So if there's an opportunity just like this one to get even more insight and help people get that guidance they need for the mindset shifting, the entrepreneurial mindset shifting that we have to do on a regular basis, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And I hope the 6 people who are here right now are getting what they need. Let us know if you have any questions or comments. Okay, go ahead. I wanted to let you say what you'd like. I'm looking up one more question I wanted to be sure to ask, but go ahead and interject if you had something.
No, I was just going to say, you were talking about the mindset transformation needed. I was thinking about that, I guess yesterday, is that when we think about mindset transformation, we have to realize and have an awareness that transformation is necessary, and that there is a way that we should be thinking versus what sometimes the world and society wants to fool us into thinking. So a part of that clarity of understanding that transformation needs to take place is, where is my thinking now? And where do I want my thinking to be? And that is a process.
That's the hard part. The process is the hard part.
It is. It is. And I will say, I'll just shout out my edit program, Expose, Dispel, Impart, and Thrive. That's really what that is about. It's exposing the lies, labels, the negative portion,
Mhm.
dispelling it, and what comes in between there. I call it the first lie, the very first place where you realize that you need that transformation of mindset.
Mhm.
And then we go to that imparting the new knowledge, understanding who you are. What do you need to move forward? And then thrive is the last portion of that. So
Yeah.
that's the process.
It resonates so strongly because I've been through that process. Like I said, in the last 10 years of my life, something about the 40s is an awakening,
Yeah.
and it can be humbling, and
Hmm.
it could also be exciting. It's a lot of emotion goes on in this 10-year period, because when you realize, okay, I have something to do with my progress or my lack of progress.
Right.
No longer can you point to this person over there or give that reason over there. You have to acknowledge what your part is. And that part is hard. But then once you realize, okay, it's me in
Hmm.
this area. So what am I going to do about it?
Right.
And then you start seeing, okay, that's going to be hard because I have to change the way I think. For example, I'm a planner, and going through the Launch Nightdale program and launching a business, I had to take risks. That's not Tiffany. It
Hmm.
wasn't. I am now able to do that with a mindset transformation.
Yeah.
I'm no longer afraid to take risks, but it was a process, and I had some tears. I cried some nights from the exhaustion of all the work, but also because it was literally changing a piece of me.
Yeah.
It was painful, but I persevered.
Yeah, it's a rewiring of thinking. You have to
It is.
rewire, yeah, because that, as you said, that process. Once you come to the realization, okay, what is it that's holding me?
Hmm.
You got to open all that up and just face it and say,
Yes.
this is what it is. Now, what am I going to do with it?
Hmm.
How do I
I look in
change
that
it?
mirror.
Dispel it? Yeah, yeah, exactly,
I,
exactly.
I see a few people join. Danielle, hi Danielle, that's Christian's wife, and Virginia, hi Virginia, thanks for joining. So we're not going to be here much longer, and there will be a replay. We're going to definitely post this. It'll be on the Facebook page, it'll be on YouTube, and I will send out some announcements in the newsletter as well, so people can catch this. I want to make sure that people know how to get a hold of your anthology and where to reach you if they want to schedule coaching, and also if men can approach you, when it comes to the coaching that you offer.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll do the last question first. Men absolutely can approach me. It's funny. I usually do things mainly with women, but I've had several men in the last probably 2, 3 years or so tell me, particularly at our church, says, like, I'm watching you. I might be on the back. You don't even know I'm there, but we're there. We're paying attention. We're watching. And I have reached out and given a couple of presentations to our men. So I think absolutely, if men are comfortable having a female coach, then I'm certainly comfortable having men. And I think
Great.
sometimes too, I'm also fine with trying to help them find, because one coach may not be for every person. So
Right.
you do have to find the right person that is the right fit for you.
Mhm.
And much as you do with friendpreneurship, I can help you. Happy to try and refer you to the right person that is the best fit for you.
Mhm.
In terms of how to reach me and to get the anthology, either on the website, smbministries.com, and there's a resource store there. You can get it there. Send me an email, info@smbministries.com, or same thing, info at Coaching with Sabrena, or there's also the Coaching with Sabrena website as well. The Coaching
Okay.
with Sabrena website is a little more business oriented, not so much word based.
Mhm.
SMB Ministries, I have Lamplighter coaching there. That's more our word based. I do edit in both versions, both in a
Mhm.
word based version and more of a company organization, where they can't talk about Jesus so much. I
Mhm.
have a different version over there,
Yeah.
but it can be both versions depending on who might be interested in the edit program.
Yeah.
But
You know what? I was about to put you backstage and wrap up with an announcement, but what you just said brought up another question. So I'm gonna
okay,
just take a chance here.
all
All
right.
right. So when it comes to growing with the flow, I'm sure that in the beginning, when you were establishing your business plan, trying to decide, okay, exactly who's my target audience and what am I going to serve them with? And, that kind of planning probably took place. And then what you just said about having two versions of what you offer, when did that come about and why? And what was the shift or pivot like when you were growing with the flow there?
So I'll just say, so SMB Ministries came about, of course, years ago, a long time ago. I've been in ministry for well over 20 years, and I've been doing women's ministry for a very long time, over 20 years. And most of the things I did through SMB Ministries, of course, was word-based. But professionally, we always live sort of those two lives, right? Professionally, predominantly white institution, so many things we can't say, in that world. And I was always teaching some classes over there on emotional intelligence. We're doing it at work with our team. But when Edit, the first version was word-based. But then someone mentioned to me, and I'll tell you, it was Erica
Perry?
What's the
Green? Perry Green?
Yes. When I was first looking at publishing, at my first version of Edit, she's like, I can see this in another version for non-Christian, for organizations, for companies because the process is still the same. The expose, dispel, impart, the thrive. The framework is exactly the same. And if you looked at the two of them side by side, the steps are same. The examples are just different. But because the framework itself, Edit, is trademarked and patented for S&B Ministries, I thought it could be very helpful for those in the professional space who still need to expose those lies, labels, feelings of inadequacy, in professional growth and in career growth. So it just depends on who's approaching me at the time. And I didn't want to be limited in the framework in and of itself. So that's why there are actually two versions. And I'll say early on, I had my very first business. I've had many businesses in my late 20s as a interior designer. And something someone taught me then, I was doing all the drapes and I used to love to do all those things. And they did the upholstery and things like that. And she taught me, this lady who mentored me then, she taught me, we had the exact same fabric swatches books. She says, but when I go in this neighborhood, I take this book. When I go in this neighborhood, I take this book. The fabric swatches were the same. The prices were different. For you had to know the audience. You want to serve people, but she would go to in the more expensive neighborhoods and they're like, well, don't you have something a little more expensive? I certainly do. I can give you exactly what it is that you want because fabric is fabric.
Right.
And that taught me many years ago in my late 20s. It depends on your audience and what they're looking for and what they need.
Yep. You got to meet people where they are.
You got to meet them where they are. Right.
Absolutely. Okay. This is good stuff. I'm going to take you off stage for just a minute. And while you're gone, be thinking about some final words for Friendpreneurs when it comes to the entrepreneurial mindset. I'm going to give a few announcements and bring you back in a moment.
All right.
Okay, Friendpreneurs. While I take Sabrena off stage for just a moment, I want to give you our announcement. So we have some events coming up in June, and I don't call them events. I call them Friendpreneurship experiences. Now we're going to have a Friendpreneurship experience this Tuesday, June 4th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. at Clara B Essentials on Bland Road in Raleigh. This will be a continuation of the conversation that we started 2 weeks ago, and it is on the entrepreneurial mindset. That conversation was so good. We're going to continue the conversation as a part 2. It's going to be an encore event, or experience. So make sure you come, invite someone Bring a friendpreneur with you. Do not come alone because you don't want to hog all this good stuff. And then we're going to have in 2 weeks after that, because this is a bi-weekly thing, the Praying CEO is going to partner with us to present to you a friendpreneurship experience that is centered around marketing. Because over the past month or two, I've been experiencing some learning in the marketing space, and I got questions. So if I have questions, I want to make sure that the friendpreneurs that surround me in my space get the answers to those questions as well and have an opportunity to ask the questions that they have. But it's mainly about marketing not just being digital. There's so many different aspects of marketing. And I think a lot of times entrepreneurs are not exposed to the many aspects of marketing that we should be to be more successful. So we're going to talk with Lisa Green of Marketing with a Twist. She's going to bring us her insight and her expertise. She is a friendpreneur for sure. And I can't wait for you guys to meet her if you don't know her already. So that is coming up in June. Also, we'll have a couple more podcasts this month. And we'll also send out the newsletter. So if you're not subscribed yet, go to friendpreneurship.com, subscribe to the newsletter so you can stay abreast on our announcements. Also follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and join the Friendpreneurship Visionaries Supporting Visionaries private Facebook group. Introduce yourself, talk about your business so we can promote, support, and repeat. So I'm going to bring Miss Sabrena back on stage so she can leave us with some final thoughts. Friendpreneurs and the entrepreneurial mindset. Hey, Sabrena, what you got?
Yeah, I think if I had to, share anything, probably be a couple things. And this was one of the questions you had shown me. One is, and we sort of alluded to this earlier, is don't give up. I think that's one thing is just don't give up and keep pressing. Depending on what stage you're in the whole process, we're learning. That sort of takes me to point number 2, which was that question around failure. What really is failure? And as I was thinking about that, I thought failure. What really is failure? And what does it mean? As long as you're learning, I don't think we have a failure. And so I would just encourage everyone to don't give up, keep pressing forward. If you need help, ask for help. This your platform here is a wonderful platform to be able to come and ask questions and learn from one another. And this is this group that you want to be around. You want to be a part of a community who can help support you and encourage you. And just remember, we don't fail. We don't fail. God doesn't fail. So if God doesn't fail, we don't fail.
Absolutely.
So those are my closing thoughts there.
Cool. Thank you so much, Sabrena, for your time on this Sunday evening.
You're more than welcome. Thank you.
Have a great evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining and for your comments.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.